Hello and welcome to another episode of Culture Shock. I am your host, Ricardo Picena, aka the Meditating Cowboy, and this is probably our last podcast. Let me tell y'all what happened from last week to this week. So I got a letter in the mail that I owe taxes, which I know I owe taxes. Like I have a rental property, but the issue is the taxes went from $4,000, they doubled, so it's $8,000. And I did not set income on the side for that much. So I'm going to have to go back to work. Thankfully, I have a food truck. So I'm just not going to go back to business as the same name as Little Mexico. I'm going to branch off at something else. I think it's time for me to do my own thing. And, but yeah, just wanted to clear that out. But welcome to Culture Shock. The intention and mission for this podcast is to share information, as we human beings have been sharing information since the beginning of the time. And I try to focus on spiritual and physical information as my core beliefs. I only really have two main core beliefs. I believe I'm a spirit driving this human body. So I believe I'm the energy. That's one of my beliefs. The spirit, the consciousness, driving this human body. To also believe I'm having a human experience. So it's kind of like a contradiction, because the spirit is perfect, but being human is not. So even though we're created perfectly, it's fucking crazy. But so the reason I'm sharing that is because when I speak and I talk to people, that is my context, and that is the context I'm always technically speaking of. Like I'm seeing somebody, I see them as a human and their potential, and I just see that. What I see in myself, I see in them, basically. And it is a mindset. It is a way of living, a way of programming. And I think the more we share information, the better each individual can get more awareness and information. And I'm not wanting people to think like me or believe what I believe. I just want people to find their own truth, because obviously we're all human. You know what I mean? If you're listening to this, we're human. We feel, we have emotions. And that's kind of how I started. I started researching and learning about the human body. I wanted to learn. I was like, okay, if we're all the same, then you know what makes us all the same? It turns out our human body. And then I studied somewhat psychology. I studied biology. I studied everything about the body. But the only issue is, for me, is retaining some of the information that's probably important that I didn't retain. And of course, I only retained what benefited me. And in Spanish, se dice, there's a saying, is no más lo que te conviene. It's like you're only learning what benefits you, because everything else was hurting my ego. But at some point too, you want to consciously listen to the opposite side, so you can reassure that your beliefs are correct. You want to question your beliefs. I question my beliefs all the time. And yeah, every time I wake up, like, yep, I'm still driving this human body. And then from there, I try to create my reality by putting into practice certain foundational beliefs, like, you know, being grateful, even though I'm not perfect. And the reason I even say that is because I've been high energy on certain areas where I've not been rewarded as I would like to be rewarded. But then again, that's the flesh, you know what I mean? And then, of course, as I do meditation and spiritual awakening, I realize that not only is it part of the human experience, there's always an easier way that I'm probably not trying to do, because either one, I'm lazy, two, I'm trying to be selfish. It's bad stuff. Like, the reason I'm not manifesting things, it is ultimately because of me. It's not because so-and-so is not letting me, or so-and-so is not providing. It's, even though those are facts, those could be facts, that is legitimately a reason why I'm probably not. But ultimately, the only thing stopping each of us, each individual, is us, ourselves. That if we get in that mentality, the why me mentality, that's where I was. And it's so crazy. It's hard to be in this state of like, okay, I'm giving advice, and then going back to my life, it was like, okay, now take that advice you gave. And a lot of it I do. But when I when I personally stay in a situation where I know I should have left, but I haven't, or I haven't done anything else about it other than that, that's when I start feeling that brew inside of me, like, like just getting angry. It's like basically the flesh overcoming my perspective in life as a spiritual being. So whatever I condition my body to believe that I deserve and I'm not getting it, makes me angry. And then, but since I'm like to think I'm a highly aware individual, I call myself out. It's like, well, Ricardo, are you using your awareness to your advantage or to take advantage? You know what I mean? And the reason is I hold myself to those standards. It's if I'm taking advantage, then I actually think less of myself. If I'm taking advantage of people by using my awareness to take advantage of people just because I think they're not at a certain level. That's not that I think that way, but if sometimes my actions show that, so I call myself out. So as I do that, I realized, okay, I need to switch my mindset and call myself out and use my awareness to my advantage, not to take advantage. In other words, if I know something's happening and I need to do something about it, then I need to get up and put action to it. And ultimately, that's one of the things that I battle with. But the more I actually do it, the more I can manifest in this life so much easier. And I don't know how people perceive me, but I know how I perceive myself. And those are the standards I hold myself to. And I think ultimately, anybody who's trying to reach some type of success has to find some type of guidance. And by guidance, I mean a foundation you based your beliefs off of. I don't know what that might be, but because each individual is different. And I think as you learn who you are, you'll be able to find out truly what you need to do. Because I have certain beliefs and I have certain ideas in life and certain like goals I'm trying to reach. So it requires me to have a certain mindset and certain habits. And some of them I don't like, but I know if I'm trying to reach that goal, I need to do them. So it's not that I don't like them, it's there's just not, I'm not used to them yet, and I don't know. It's, to me, I love recording this podcast, so I'm probably still going to record them, but it's not going to be like this. Like I'm legitimately, I got shirts made. I bought this hat just so I can record a podcast and put on the meditating cowboy persona. But if you actually know who I am, man makes the clothes. The clothes does not make the man. So I can separate myself from both. But what I'm saying is I bought all this on purpose so I can record this. I even got an extra gear so I can get high quality content or record high quality content. But now I'm the way I'm seeing, because I'm going to have to go back to a routine of making money from my food truck. And I know how much hard work it is to own your own business and running it. And actually and when you care, it's hard work. So what I'm saying is it's going to be hard for me to record this podcast in this style. You know what I mean? So if anything, I'm going to be recording podcasts on the go and possibly while I'm working on my food truck. Because I want to put up a video version. So in case I don't know, there's YouTube video versions of all my podcasts. And I put the podcast on just audio as well. And I actually get good feedback, which I'm happy about. I don't want any bad feedback, but I think there's no such thing as bad feedback, obviously. For me, what would be bad feedback would be somebody trying to belittle me for the knowledge that I think I know. That will hurt me. But at the same time, now that I just said that out loud, if I'm aware that they're doing that on purpose, I'm going to try to either one, be fucking defensive, or two, be loving and understanding, which I try to be loving and understanding. I really don't care to defend my beliefs because they're mine. And what's crazy is I was listening to Jordan Peterson, and he was talking about Carl Jung mentioned people do not have ideas. Ideas have people. And it makes sense. And he was, of course, I felt like he was calling me out, and I like Jordan. But he was like, stop being so cliche, stop being so what else he said? Basically, he's saying come up with your own philosophy. Not really saying that, but the way I see it is we all kind of do come up with our own philosophy. We take little things from the stuff that we like I said earlier, lo que te conviene, what benefits you. You only learn what benefits you and helping you at that moment. And sometimes you are a bag of cliche things. Like love yourself. That sounds very cliche, but when you really sit back and think about it, I was like, oh, now I get it. Like if you add the right context if you put it in the right context or use it as a metaphor from what I heard, it also helps. So, but he was talking about not being so cliche and coming up with your own philosophy, which I actually have some stuff that I feel like I innovated. Like the ideas had me, and it's an innovative ideas. But I guess I'm still a little scared of being ridiculed on some stuff. I don't want to just say, hey, what if blah blah, and people would say like, what? Oh, sorry about that sound. I'm heating up something in the oven. But hold on, I'm gonna wait till it turns off. But yeah, like, so I was thinking, I have certain ideas, like my own philosophy, but I don't feel like I'm there yet to even be preaching that. So I talk about stuff that I use from somebody else that has helped me now. And I feel like and that I've experienced and I put to work. So I'm not even, and the reason I feel comfortable with that, it is because I'm not in competition with anybody. Like I'm just in competition with myself. I'm not really out here to prove the point to anyone else but myself. But I feel like I can prove already a point to myself. So in a way I am out proving a point, but not to where if it don't get proven, I'm gonna like fall, if that makes any sense, or I'm just gonna let go. I don't know how to explain that part, but yeah, I highly recommend Jordan B. Peterson. He's very smart. And another thing he enlightened me with, because I don't really like labels, I don't like labeling myself, but he was explaining, humanist and existentialist, and apparently he's an existentialist, which means that they're more worried about the action than your words. Like me preaching up here, hey, be loving. He wouldn't really listen to that. He'll see, well, what have you been doing, sir? What kind of actions have you been putting behind your words? And I like that. That's something I believe. I'm like, okay, so I guess I can partly be existentialist, but I don't want to be too serious either. I'm not all in. That's what's so crazy. Because if I'm all in, then that means I'm going to have to see certain humans as not, you don't have to see them as not as strong, but that awareness of like, okay, if you're actually putting actions to everything you're saying, you're constantly on the go in and you're creating and building shit. As to someone who isn't, but what if they're just now learning that? You really can't, like the perception of time and space, you really can't apply that to someone else. I'm nobody, you're nobody, no one's nobody to make that call of how fast you should work and how fast you should move on creating, I guess, a perspective of this human reality. You know what I mean? Of course, we have to work for a living, so people can tell you shit there. If you go to work, they can tell you what to do. But ultimately, I'm talking about living life. You know what I mean? Like, living life. There's no actual guide. Yeah, there's Bibles and shit like that. But we've all seen what happens when it gets too extremist. You know what I mean? So in the end, obviously it's balance. And I guess that's what I'm trying to reach, is have my foot in a little bit of everything, which my strength has also been my weakness, because I stretch myself out on so much shit on the outside, like even physically. I have so much shit going on, not just inside. It's bad enough already inside. It's actually not bad enough, but it's already, that's not a good word, bad enough. It's already a struggle enough to just hold interdisciplinary ideas and not really believe all of them, but just picking and choosing which one works at that time, while still not taking advantage of others. That's ultimately what I try to do, is take all this information that people believe, from ridiculous information, from fucking flat earth to dome earth to fucking aliens. It doesn't matter. I'm nobody. I don't think anybody's anybody to prevent anybody from believing that or building an imagination. Now, is it real? That's up to each individual. Because as we know, or if we don't know, let me enlighten you, our subjective reality changes with our objective reality changes with our subjective reality. So our subjective thoughts changes our objective reality. And what's crazy is this has been known for a long time, but it's been kept hidden. From my research, it's been kept hidden because of the empowerment. Can you imagine if each individual was empowered in the way that you probably feel empowered, that I'm hoping you feel empowered? We would not be in, the reality would not be what we live in now. Like, a lot of the issues that we have now as humans is very primitive. People going to bed, not eating. Man, don't get me preaching. I just caught myself. But y'all understand what I'm saying. Like, the world's not a perfect place, and ultimately it is because our perceptions of what reality is has been skewed to better fit someone's agenda. That's what's so powerful about the mind, the ability to be able to communicate. Me communicating this, like, and y'all even believe in anything I'm fucking saying. I could be lying. You know what I mean? But the point is, imagine people who are very highly aware of that knowledge and that power that they have, and their intention is to not help humanity. Imagine that. Better yet, let's not even go that far. What if their intention is to survive, but they're very smart, so they put systems at play that keeps them at the top? Just a little idea up there for you woke people. You probably don't need that. Y'all understand that what the Matrix technically is real. And but I think understanding that reality, seeing it, requires a full acceptance of there is a higher power, a higher self, or a universe. And basically the acceptance that all this was not random, nor is there a reason for it, other than the fact of being human. You know what I mean? But yeah, I told y'all that this podcast was going to be wild on the last podcast. There is no I'm not following my video podcast guide. So yeah, I made a little guide. I will fill them out, and that way I would know. And that's why I was saying I won't be able to provide those podcasts no more, but I'll still be able to provide these type of podcasts. And I would really love some type of feedback. What do you think? Do you think I should just stop, or do y'all like this podcast that I'm doing today? Sorry, I'm playing with my hair. I got a haircut yesterday for y'all video guys, and I like it. My cousin at Ray Cole in Dallas, Oak Cliff, the Tyler Station. He's a 5 to a 6-star barber. No bullshit. I'm putting him on blast. He really is though. He been cutting my hair since he was like 14. He's 26 now. Maybe I'm exaggerating. No, he was 14, 15. That motherfucker was young. Forever young. So yeah. Ultimately, I just wanted to, I guess, let y'all know that I'm going to have to get back to work. My main core beliefs. And the reason I always say that is because the only difference between me and you is your beliefs are probably different. But the semantics, the details, the algorithm on how to reach certain things are ultimately, it's all the same. And we cannot outrun our self-image, your ego. If you do not see yourself doing something, you're probably only going to do it for a few days. That's why New Year's resolutions don't work. You're not going to, if you don't see yourself doing it, if you're not that person in your mind, your willpower is only so strong. It's just, that's psychology straight up. Like I'm going to say that for sure. It's the truth, and you can Google it. But yeah, a lot of psychologists understand that, and that's actually very crucial, because for me, I didn't know I had that till like maybe 2015. And that really like shocked me to understand that what actual ego is from a psychologist's point of view, and then learning it from a spiritual point of view. Spirituality claims that you need to kill your ego, but you don't need to kill your ego. Like, that's not even spirituality. I think this is selfish spiritual people. Your ego is not good or bad. It is how you use it. The way you see yourself is not good or bad. It is how you act out that determines if your ego is good or bad. You know what I mean? I know y'all do know what I mean. I feel it. Isn't that crazy? I feel y'all knowing exactly what I mean. That is weird. But weird is another word for unique. And we are unique beings. Idiosyncratic beings. Peculiar beings. I'm just learning a lot of words recently and I'm trying to use them. So, what else can I say? Yeah, I guess what I'm bummed out about is the fact that I'm going to have a more firm routine, which I guess I should not be bummed out. I should be happy because I love routines. And another thing is, once I start my food truck business, I can help more people. I can give away food. I can go broke if I want to go broke by giving away food. Don't push me. Like, if I feel like I have such a big energy, high energy, like huge ego, like a positive ego though, that if somebody says I can't, I will. But all in context. You know what I mean? Definitely want to do the right thing. You don't want to just do crazy things just to do it. And I don't want to be different just to be different. I want to actually bring a value and change. So yeah, I really want to thank everybody for all the feedback. Y'all been giving me a lot of feedback on the last 6 podcasts, and that means a lot to me because there's not a lot of people I can share this type of knowledge with, and it's hard. But I guess I should be doing more than just talking. So that's another thing why I'm kind of excited for starting the food truck, I guess. I just got to look at the positive things. You have the choice. Do I want to complain or do I want to do something about it? That's literally the choice. So it's good to regain perspective in that way. And let me ask the empowering question of the day. Oh yeah. What do y'all think? What do y'all think of this style of podcast? Well, like I said, it's going to be on the go from here on out after this podcast. No, it's not going to be this. I don't even want to call this fancy, but this whole background, everything was done on purpose. So I call that like preparing. So it's not going to be as prepared on the next podcast, but I am very excited. You have no idea how excited I am just to keep going. I thought I was not going to be able, but as I started this podcast, I got it down. I'm like, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to do it. I still have spices. I'm going to be using those spices. That's going to be my gift of the day. It's the fajita seasoning. It's all natural, non-GMO, and no MSG. I don't use any ingredients that should not be used on the food. MSG, they say it's good, it enhances. But honestly, think about it. Just think about it. Why do you need something extra that's man-made to improve the flavor of your food? I mean, I love food, don't get me wrong. But right now, my agenda is to provide the highest fucking quality nutrition I can provide. And the only way I can do that is by being aware of every single ingredient that goes into my food. And I take that very serious. It's the reason why I kind of had to stop working for Little Mexico is because they didn't want to implement certain stuff. And the food still tasted the same. It just cost them more. And they still make enough money. Anyways, don't get me started there. But yeah, I'm hoping to start my food truck under a different name. We'll see. I'll let y'all know. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know what all else I got going. So I have a greenhouse. I invest time in that too. And I have some properties that I don't have money to build homes on, but I invest time in that too. So I have, that's all I really have as far as assets. and my greenhouses that I could make money off of and sell some property. But I really think I need to get back on the grind and record and show y'all how I do out there in the real life, in the real world, out there, not just talk it. Because I even have friends try to be passive aggressive. We don't joke around like that, but they try to be kind of like in a joking manner. I don't even know what it's called, but I know, I feel their energy, and it's like I always say something smart ass, but I'm trying to watch that because I don't think it's it's not that it's not loving, because I'm not being loving. I'm just being affirmative. I love affirmative communication. I tell you how I feel, tell you what I like and don't like, and I tell you what I like to be done and what we can meet halfway. I can get along with people very well that way. And the ones that don't, the people that either have to have it their way, we don't get along because I don't need you like that. And I'm hoping you don't need me like that either, because then I'm going to have to be the bigger person and not only bend backwards for you who are not even trying to bend forward a little for me. You know what I mean? I know y'all been in that situation where you know better, and then you know you have to do better. And it's like, take pride in that shit. Fuck it. Let them know. It's like, you know what? You're being a little bitch, but I'm not gonna not be the bigger person. I just want to let you know you're being a little bitch, and I'm gonna be the bigger person. I just have to get that out, and I'm gonna forgive you. And if they get mad at me, tell them, look, I had to get that out. I had to get that little poison out. I'm trying to forgive you. You either take it or you don't. And if you don't, I'm still going to forgive you. And it's on them. That way you feel that big old shit just leave your that energy just leaves you. Oh yeah, I believe a lot in like being a resistor or a releaser of energy. And there's evidence in that. We found a measurement. Go to visit Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Brayton if you're actually trying to learn some new science, not pseudo-science. This new science is gonna claps hands, woke. It's gonna wake you up to realize that, oh fuck, I've been lied to, and then you're gonna realize, oh, I've been lied to because of profits. Oh, profits. So yeah, ultimately humanity's been enslaved to energy. It's been held back. That's why we still use petrol fuel. I'm not against petrol fuel. I got some friends that are in the oil business. Motherfuckers is banking. But I don't agree with suppressing technology for the advancement of humanity. As a matter of fact, I have a hydrogen on demand system from Aquatune. I knew the original owner. I had seen his car run completely on water. I'm going to install that system on my truck. I might install that system this week. So if y'all follow me on my Instagram, I'll put the tag on there. It's Ricardo Picena. I will be posting some shit on there. And then, of course, on my YouTube, Ricardo Picena. I'll probably even post it on the Meditating Cowboy YouTube page. Just because, again, I do believe in technologies have been suppressed, and these technologies need to get out to help humanity. It starts with the ripple effect. It starts one day at a time. You know, when I was younger, I had dreams of, like, by the time I was older, cars were, the Tesla car is the closest thing, but they would not only drive themselves, but it was just like get us there almost like super fast. But you know what, I even went into detail to think, well, where are we going? And it was just all friends. I've always just cared about hanging out with friends and being loved, being admired, and like, I don't know, being loving. But again, the fucking flesh is hard to control sometimes. Sometimes it craves things you shouldn't crave. And then sometimes you feel depressed because of whatever this, but you know better, but it doesn't matter because your body wants to feel that way. So yeah, send me your mailing address on my email and I'll send you some of those spices. And yeah, remember, y'all are unconditionally loved. Very much so, that you're allowed to believe you're not. In other words, you're allowed to believe whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to believe anything I said in the last 6-7 podcasts. If anything, stick with you. Research that part and run with that. Make your own truth. Create your own reality. You're a human being. And you know what? We're only here temporarily, so don't fuck around. Well, I love y'all. Thank y'all for the support. I'll be talking to y'all next week.